That deal though, we got to stand our ground. When we asked him about what was on that list, it was only covered with what was on the list. We did it twice.
What list?
The list did
Schedule charges?
Yes. They said that's the only one that's going to be in effect.
That is what I think. Recapture.
No.
Sure that I haven't heard any?
That's a good place for breakfast. Yeah, you did that. You did that. Good deal.
Well, I have one.
You know, you did a Monday, our other right?
Just because we didn't.
We went ahead, your Sharon went ahead and put everything on yours.
I didn't mean that, sorry. But if you got to attend today,
Thank you.
you just got every one.
And your mileage. Bills and mileage.
I do get that.
I did that when I went to Austin last time for a meeting. I shared, the first year I was there with that, and I shared it with these. And that worked out. Worked out good.
It's great to get this morning, Judge.
Maybe 1-200, really, and a lightning strike knock the transformer out.
Really? Pretty loud rock storm there for this short bit. Slayer said they had a game.
Who did? No, it didn't rain.
I think they did.
It might have rained.
I hope we did. I got grass planted right there by his house.
But it didn't get any hail.
Well, can't hurry though, Jimmy. Well, of course, you're gonna see that in the video. Enough of it, David.
Call meeting to order. Young County Commissioners Court is in a regular meeting Monday, April 11th, 2016. It is 9:34 a.m. Make note that this meeting was posted in the manner for the time required, and that all members of the court are present. If it's convenient, please stand for our invocation and our pledges. Please join me in prayer. Our Father in heaven, we thank you for this day, the most wonderful blessing of being able to live in this country, one where we are governed by our fellow man. We thank you for the opportunities that we have. We're grateful for this nation, for this state, for this county, communities therein. We ask your blessings upon those of our number who stand in harm's way to protect and defend the freedoms and values that we hold dear. We ask your blessings upon this meeting today, and that the decisions that we make are sought counsel from you. And we ask that you forgive us for our many shortcomings, as we know that you will. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much. number 3, public comments, announcements, and presentations. The only things that I had that were agenda worthy or of notice were Regional Water Planning Group, Area B, public meeting Wednesday, May 4th, 2016. I think that announcement is in your packet. And also added in that packet regard to the countywide polling place program in the effort to secure the opportunity to utilize that program in the future. Does anybody else have any other announcements? I understand that a good car show here.
We didn't do it about
I drove by.
20% better than previous years.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to let every one of you guys know that I really appreciate what y'all do for the county. And if elected sheriff, I plan on working hand in hand with each one of you guys. One of the things that I plan on doing if elected sheriff is really working hard on the drug problem we have here. And to do that, we will have to have a 24-hour, 7-day coverage of the county. And that's just a few of the things that I will on my agenda, but I just want to tell y'all I appreciate what y'all do.
Very good, Travis. Thank you very much. Is there anything else? Public announcement. You say the car show was 20%?
20% larger. Had about 150 cars the previous year, about almost 190 this year.
I made a couple circles around the square about that time. It was right before it started drizzling rain.
Right. And here is
It was big. There was a lot
another
of
side about the dynamics of it is that we've been having the Scottish Rite Hospital out of Fort Worth come every year and sell their raffle tickets for their Harley Davidson motorcycle. They set a one-day ticket sales record for their auction, for their raffle at the car show Saturday.
Congratulations.
So, yeah, they did a really good job. The folks at Young County, the ones that attended the car show, Scottish Rite really appreciate it.
Well, it was pretty big. It was pretty. Anything else? Item number 4 is consider the county clerk's minutes of previous meeting. I think there was one little area corrected prior to the agenda, so we're going to call those. I'm going to call those as presented. Were there any corrections, deletions, or amending that needs to happen to those minutes?
So,
Got a motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Rogers to accept the minutes as presented. All in favor? Carried 5-0. Consider update on securities pledge. Look like they are in pretty good order.
3,267,125.76. So moved.
Second, Commissioner Pruitt, Commissioner Wiley. With a motion to accept those security pledges as presented. All in favor? Carried 5-0. Consider auditor's budget amendments, payment of vouchers.
Vouchers. Total is $144,581.42, and of that, $102,662.84 is out of general.
No amendments?
No, sir.
That's always a good thing.
so moved on Rogers.
I have a motion by Commissioner Wiley and a second by Commissioner Rogers to approve vouchers payable as presented. All in favor? Ms. Auditor, is there anything else?
No, everything's good. We have a little bit of
No
money
little
left.
surprises or anything like
Not
that?
today. Never know.
Yeah. I take it that invoice of 6 Star was in there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's something we can talk about on there. We need to talk about redoing those roofs over the doors,
The stoops.
stoops there. They were hoping to be able to save them because of the history behind them. But the problem is when you get up there and start looking at them, the aesthetics of it, there are too many holes in it. So he suggested we probably go ahead and see if we want to go ahead and replace those if we got some money available.
Reconstructing,
Yes.
is the decking, basically.
I don't know how bad the decking is, but they need to be fixed.
Can we put it back somewhere and what we are now?
We can just see, I don't know,
Which doors?
the roof over
Oh, the
the
porches.
Justice Center, yeah, on the porches.
You're not gonna speak one.
I'm sorry.
You're not gonna speak one.
Just a visualize that. Mind about sitting there looking at it.
We're talking about the porches and over the doors.
Yeah, Justice Center.
Porches, yeah.
Yes, he will try to keep them as close to aesthetically the way they are now.
What was he talking about doing to them?
He didn't care, he just said he just gonna get us to look at it and see what he wants to do and get a game plan from
I
there.
think they need to be restructured because there's not enough meat there to,
We
What
must-
do you think about it?
They got holes in it. They're holes,
Holes in the roof.
holes in it.
They figured in on the bid, but
I believe it's figured in on the video.
I've turned these two, I think I've received 2 invoices, I've turned them in, and I talked to Kevin with TAC on Friday, and he said if there's anything else, send it, because I think we had like 23,000 kind of out there, and I
There's some extra money.
think there's some extra, so.
So considering modifying the action project.
So that should be done.
That's done?
Yes.
And we turned over the billing,
I don't know what the bill on the hatch is.
I don't remember
No,
seeing it.
just the invoice for the original contract with the roof has been turned in,
Yes.
but all the additional work of what was left has not been turned in.
But the building at this time is water tight.
Correct.
Yes.
So I know I've paid, or we've received 11,000 and some change on the roof. And then a little bit on the interior, we haven't done anything on the interior, have we, as far as fixing any of the interior that is damaged?
yeah, but then we're
So
waiting for the
I think
roof.
I got 5,000 or 6,000 on that, received from TAC. So anything else we get, I'll just send in and
Do it from there.
they'll give us.
But there's a ladder supposed to be over there if we want to go up and look at it and make a decision. And get a hold of it.
Porch code.
Yes. Go from there.
Anything else on the amendments or vouchers? Item number 7, consider extension agent Miranda Rebel report, request for reimbursement of $957 and for Justin Rogers in the amount of $124.20.
I move we approve those reimbursements for the extension office.
We have a motion by Commissioner Sykes, a second by Commissioner Pruitt to approve those requests for reimbursement respectively. All in favor? Carried. Item number 8. We have a new employee that's been deputized and has taken the oath of office in our county clerk's office. Like any other announcements other than the court approving such deputation and oath?
So moved.
Have a motion by Commissioner Wiley and a second by Commissioner Rogers to accept or acknowledge the deputation and oath as presented. All in favor? Carried. Aye, vote. Item number 9, discuss and consider request from county agent Justin Rogers that a plan be considered to create auxiliary space for youth animal project in the old ag barn. This was put on by Commissioner Stipes. I visited briefly with Justin about that early last week.
As you know, the old ag market has been not a problem, but it's been lurking in the shadows for us for a while for expenses. Trying to figure out what to do with it. It is rented out, but what's our real income for the year so far?
I haven't pulled that.
Not a lot, is
It's
it?
not a lot, and right now there's only 268 in that checking account.
And as I was welcoming our new extension agent, Justin, we were discussing the various things, the programs he can do for the youth in the community, and he asked about the old ag barn. He said he just had a vision for that ag barn out there where youth might possibly be able to use those facilities, we might make better use of them on to it. But I'm just gonna let Justin come up here and tell you what kind of his vision is and what he's suggesting we might consider.
Well, just greetings from the extension office. Appreciate the opportunity to visit. Brandon's also here just to say hello. And just a little bit about it. I saw that facility. I drive by it every day. It's just something I see, and I know there's in the works with the school district here in the city are building a great facility. And I definitely don't want to sidetrack any of that. I see that out there. I think that's something that could be used. That's not currently being used, but in the same sense as if there's some issues there, you know, just thought, kind of thinking out loud a little bit with Commissioner Sipes and I said I visited with Judge Bullock about that just briefly at the Farm Bureau meeting the other night. But just something that I thought possibly could be used, even if nothing else in the short go. It's got a nice flooring in it, nice roof and things. So I know it's been used for years. It's just a facility that I thought it's not being really tapped in right now. We use it for shooting sports for 4-H and use it for, I believe, flea market days and things and some birthday parties and events people can rent it for. So I was thinking the south side, but in the same sense as if it's going to cause any issues or problems, I definitely don't want to stir anything up. But just something I thought about.
Well, from my perspective, that's the relocation of the Ag Project Center. I believe it is started, it's ongoing right now. It's for its expansion, that's why we donated land, and I know, you know, just for kids in Young County, and primarily surrounding around here. Obviously, there's likely not going to be a project owner from Newcastle will come over here and do that, or from Miami, because it's just convenience locality. But I would kind of have problems in doing that down there. That is in floodplain. Often flooding quite seriously. Worked pretty good for a 3 or 4 day show, and that was good. But projects there for 6 or 8, 10 months, a little bit different kind of cost. The facility's old. It takes a considerable amount of money for update. And I probably have some problems.
Of course, it's been called the ag barn for obvious reason. It is an ag facility. If there was a need for additional room above and beyond and past the facility that we're having plans right now, that might be a place that we could definitely see. The only problem would be the flooding. Of course, you know, we would have plenty of advance warning probably for a flood. There'd have to be somebody responsible for that situation. But I can certainly see your vision of seeing kids keeping their projects out there. It might be a little more use of that facility than we're making right now. I mean, we're talking about everything from raising the building to leasing it to someone differently, to finding additional purposes for it. Your thoughts on the building is certainly an additional purpose for the building, a use for which it was intended to begin with. I can certainly see what the judge is saying about the 3 or 4 day show being not a problem with the flood, if you leave an animal out there for a long duration. How long would an animal stay out?
Oh, usually feeding periods like on a swine projects. Basically, we buy in the wintertime, we buy them in anywhere from the middle of September to the middle of November. And then we'll will show them anywhere from January 15th at the county show here, all the way to about March the 15th, the last would be Austin. So, say, December, January, February, March, 4 to 6 months at the most.
The period that would be out.
Yes, sir. And I don't envision a lot of Dallas summer animals being, I don't think that, I just kind of looked at the numbers, I don't think there's a lot of Dallas summertime interest here,
Right.
because the majors take so much time.
You're thinking of that primary in swine.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Swine, and if a kid wanted to keep a sheep or a goat, possibly there. And I probably would, definitely wouldn't work with calves.
Have any feedback?
We finally come to the realization, y'all have, I've been trying to get y'all to picture this for the last couple of years, but our main expense is electricity out there. But most of that electricity expense comes from the old project center out there, and we're trying to get out from under that. So this facility will get a little cheaper, I hope, but just the utilities, what we have to pay. I don't know that we want to go in and put a bunch of county money into it.
I don't think,
Redo the facility.
I wouldn't be,
Because
I
of
wouldn't
the
ask for
flood
that.
situation, but, I mean, it needs to be utilized by someone.
There wouldn't be any expense on that. All I would be using for those 4-H kids, or anybody for that matter, would be that lean-to that faces the south. And the families would be required to bring kids in there.
But when we made the deal with the new project there, I did make it a point in an effort to get the use and the term put in the contract to be used by 4-H members also. It's not strictly just a Graham ISD project center, this new facility, so we should have space out there, but, I sure hate to see it tore down, raised, but, it's expensive to keep operating.
We should have space there before, if we don't know that before it begins to operate, then that has it begin to operate, yeah.
I think that's mainly the reason we want to bring it forward, that we should need some relief.
And that's kind of where I was kind of going with that. We talked about that's more of a, if that deal gets, we have an action chapter here,
An
and
idea on the table.
yeah, just thinking out loud.
And what are you gonna do when you have the flea market stuff out there? What about the animals?
That's
Well,
all we
we don't
decided.
seem to, that can, once again, the rentals, I don't think are paying the expenses on the flea markets. They would have to do the flea market on the north side inside the building.
Is it not done that the way now?
I guess they use that cover for the flea market. I think they did.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
That flea market one.
The land that the building's sitting on, we don't own, correct?
Right.
The city owns that land.
This building's been passed around too, back and forth between the city, between the county, between the ag committee and the chamber, back and forth. In the original contract, it was originally given to the county or assigned to the county or whatever the appropriate term might be. It went from there then, I believe, to the city, and then from the city to the chamber ag committee, and I think the last round it came back, and those were terms of the agreement for it to come back to the county. They no longer needed to operate. That's where it is. Technically, I guess, the Young County owns the building, or at least has authority over the building, but it does sit in floodplain in the fireman's park, city-owned property.
Does the city need any more storage space?
Not that storage space.
That'll tell you for cheap.
We can't, none of the offices will trust us to stack their boxes out there, so
Brandon, you got anything
they're
you
waterproof.
put in, add into this?
I'd love for that facility to have something. I know the judge and I talked about this, and then from a city's perspective, what we've looked at to be able to bring that building back up to code, if we get it back, it's probably gonna be scrap iron, because it's gonna cost about 60 grand to bring it up to current code within the city limits. That does bring up another, within the city limits, the ordinance says there's no swine. The feeding facility has been allowed, and obviously that other feeding facility now will be outside the city limits. I would love to be able to repurpose that building and maybe have it as a fallback plan and have a better plan or guideline, but for what it would cost to renovate that building, if the county, if we have to pursue that, that 60,000, you could go build one half that size that would be really nice and up to date and up to code. The bigger part of this, I think, though, that we need to probably keep to have ideas on the table is the fact that we have not completed the facility that we're working on right now. My understanding, my hope is, and then obviously, like you said, Commissioner Rogers, we've talked about having that be 4-H and FFA feeding facility. I hope that we have enough animals out there that we have to worry about where else to put other livestock, but I want to make, that facility work first, and if we do run into an issue there, then we'll have to pursue option B. And for the time being, if they needed it, we're going to leave the old feeding facility as is until the new one's completed. The new one we're beginning, as soon as we start thinking about pouring the slab, then we get a little rain. But we're going to be pouring the slabs for 3 30x130s, which will house swine projects, and a 40x60, which will house sheep and goats. The site plan will have another area for a 40x60 barn for cattle that we're not building at this time because of funds, but in the long term. And then also the site plan will have another 30x130. Those 30x130s 100 foot of it will be 5-foot hog pens, so there'll be 20 pens per building.
What's the number you figuring will hold?
Excuse me?
How many you think it'll hold total number?
Well, at one per pen, that'd be 60 head.
Normally though, we put like 2 to a pen, 3.
Or her at one.
I think the current facility has like 30 pens, maybe. Yeah, in a perfect world, we'd be able to put them individually.
Was that facility full last year, do you know what?
Yes.
The current one?
Yeah.
It is embedded in the agreement to move, transfer the property to the school. This was absolutely for the kids, not necessarily only Grandma ISD kids, but for 4-H, FFA combined equally.
Again, I want to commend our new extension agent for looking at possibilities in this community, looking for ways to make things happen rather than let things go undone if possible. And those were the crux of our discussion. And asked if he would bring it before the Commissioners Court to lay the idea on the table so that we would have those various inputs. So by no means we asking the county to consider a renovation of the building. Matter of fact, part of his thinking is to continue to consider an auxiliary plan, a fallback plan of how we can do it without subsidies from the county. Zero. And so, again, it's just to make you gentlemen aware of that kind of thinking and to bring it before this court.
Appreciate your time.
I move we table this for future consideration.
There you go. I'll second.
TBD.
Mr. Bell, thank you for showing up, gracing us with your presence. Good to see you. How's things going out there?
It's good, it's very good. We jointly, Young County and Wichita County, hosted the District 4-H Fashion Show this weekend. Because of my changeover between counties, it became a joint project. It was hosted at City View High School. We had 61 kids. It was wonderful. It was a great event. They had fun. They loved the location. We have been working, Commissioner Sykes can tell you, we've had kids through the office nearly every day. We have had sewing workshops. We have a small engine project going now. We continue to have livestock judging projects and plant ID practices. All of our clubs are still having meetings. As far as the FCS side, I've been teaching a program Thrive Physical Fitness as part of their Healthy Living Challenge. I've had several programs with NCTC. There's a great partnership between the Extension Office and the Graham Chamber of Commerce. We continue to work on the U-Lead class. And then the new people, myself and Krista, we have some IT program into whereas in the past it is just kind of, everybody's been invited. For day camps, they're going to be for any 13-day camps throughout. May 21st starts the first one, and then they go through the end of July. Anything from making hair bows and jewelry to paddle boarding to making lures and going fishing. Gardening, we've got a little bit of everything. So if there's anything that y'all see or that y'all want, communities, all walk enough miles that would measure Beaumont to El Paso. Teachers, water bottles, etc. I just went to training in February for a new program called Learn, Grow, Eat, Go. And I'm really excited to promote that one to Newcastle next year. It's a gardening program, and I want to start small and then get all the schools into it. So that way I can get my feet wet with it also.
Where are you gonna do that gardening?
Do what?
Where are you gonna do that?
Hopefully at the school.
At the school.
We'll see. We'll see if they go for it.
Well, don't take where it's close to the school.
So,
It'd be like,
What on your activity report this month, you got small engine repair?
yes,
Where do you do that
it's at the office,
at?
and it's the
It's
precinct
in our
one.
precinct one shop.
Mhm.
Okay, well, first plans were to have it at the old ag barn, 2 years ago.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
that's where it'll still be.
No, we managed to use some past funds, and we bought engines this year, new engines with Harbor Freight. So our instructors were very, very pleased with those. We don't have to come up with our own weed or lawnmower engines working or not working. So they have.
Who's instructing you back
John
some-
Slater and Jerry Jones
Yes.
are donating their time to
Yes, we're excited to have them. April 28th, we have a field trip program set up for Graham and Newcastle ISD. It's Progressive Agriculture Youth Safety Day. So we've got 185 kids. They're going to come rotate through stations, learn about different aspects of safety, things that they can do to prepare themselves for staying home alone or things that they might encounter just in daily life. We have not, although it is sponsored by Progressive Farmer, it's not farm-based safety. So we'd love for y'all to come out and see that if y'all have the opportunity. We'll be out there from 9 to 1:15, so lots of people volunteering time for that.
that.
There's a lot going on.
Okay.
Mike will vouch for it. I'm never
Yeah,
there. I'm
yeah.
never there.
There's a lot of feet stomping over my head in the afternoon. That's where they store all their boxes of goods and
Yeah.
paraphernalia and it just.
Archery match, is it gonna be out the ring?
Yes. Not this weekend, but next weekend. Starts Friday, goes through Saturday evening.
And then the rifle and pistol contest?
Is in Wichita at the Northwest Texas Field and Stream Range. Yes.
And then you got restrooms to the archery.
I don't know. It's sitting in my email this morning. I've seen it. I haven't opened it.
Seems like every year it increases a little bit more.
Yeah, this year statewide they offered 2 or 3 more locations. So we know that Graham numbers are going to be down for that, just because we're not going to have as many of the West Texas kids coming in. They haven't sent out final numbers yet, so I've got some numbers for Young County. I don't have statewide numbers yet. So
It was just offering 2 locations.
yes,
South.
Rich, Bay City and Graham.
Yeah.
And this year they've increased it to 4, I think. They added Fort Stockton and somewhere in East Texas.
Sounds like 4-H and FFA is alive and well in Young County.
It is. It is, it's exciting, there's lots going on. So if there's any adult programming that y'all need done or youth programming, let us know.
Very good, thank you, Brandon, for the support. Let's see. Item number 10. Consider lease agreement buyout for vehicles, SO and Constable. Got Hughes here, along with our auditor. Tommy Martin might have a little input here. Constable number 1.
Morning. I'm good. Enjoyed that rain this morning.
What about the light?
I did enjoy that. I had kids in bed about 5:30. Kept me awake up the rest of the morning. What I did, I wanted to go back and look at the values for the different vehicles. The top part is the Manheim auction. That's what we're showing. And the way Manheim works is they have the vehicle there, the year, the mileage, and they show the anticipated value. This is not always what they get. This is just what they're showing the anticipated value to be. Unfortunately, what they don't go into a lot of details, they don't tell exactly what was set up on the car or the truck as far as engines or any equipment that was on there. Sometimes there's not even very good pictures of it. But this is what's showing. The Dodge truck was coming back, those are all 2013s. Mileage 23, 30, and 40, and you can see the values all in the 20s on those. Now that's low mileage. They didn't have any that were any higher mileage that I could find. And the way that works is, when I pull up Manheim, that pulls across the entire country. Now if I go into like I can click on San Antonio, I can look just in what's at San Antonio, or just in Dallas, or just in Fort Worth. But when I go on just a regular website, I can look all the way across the board. And this was over the last 2 weeks, what I was checking for. And I really didn't see any that had a whole lot of mileage on them for 13s. The Tahoe's been used as a police vehicle for a lot longer, so I was able to get different years. You have a 2007, a 12, and then 2 13s. You see the values are still coming back pretty high on those, even at 169,000. That's 9,000, which is the residual that we put on there. That's a conservative value that we put, and that's based upon having a mileage anywhere between 90 to 120,000. You can see that kind of proves that at 169. Then you get the Ford utility units. Those values are coming in kind of high, but this is still a relatively new vehicle. It's been used by Ford after they revamped it back in 2013. Now below that, you'll see the recent bids. These are the Tahoes that we just had come through. This is 3 different counties here. I didn't use all the vehicles, I just kind of gave you a snapshot. So you can see the 13 with 93,000, that's 13.5 was the high bid we had on that. The 12s, 14, 13.7, and 10.5 based on mileage. And even 2010 with 65,000 miles, giving 12.7. So based upon the mileage with what we're looking at and the values, it really depends on what the sheriff's department wants to go with it. You're going to have a good resale value. I think it's a benefit to stay in the leasing program and not just pay them off, because you're going to get a high value, which you turn around and pay out that residual, apply that back, it's going to drop your payment down even lower. Majority of their equipment's going to be able to transfer over. To give an example of that, we've got one county that's transferring equipment from a Chevrolet Tahoe to a Ford Utility Interceptor. And what they're transferring over is the light bulb, which is a little bit wider for the Tahoe. When you transfer it over to the utility, all you have to do is the strap that transfers it over is $50. There's an overhang of about 2 inches on each side, which is not a big deal. Anyways, I think they got one light.
Ain't that right, Tommy?
I think the only thing we'd have to change
Radio.
over, I think on Brady's car pickup is for that.
Lights.
He is a light, but he also has the steps too.
Yeah, both of them have the,
Yeah.
And the value for the truck is, I think the Dodge starts at like 26. It might be a little bit higher for Tommy's with the bigger wheels, but that's minimal when you consider there's not any other equipment to change over.
What's that cost for the Dodge compared to the Chevrolet Tahoe?
The Chevrolet Tahoe, the base unit's gonna start around 34, where the base unit for this is a four-wheel drive Dodge truck, is at 26. So it's a pretty big jump. And.
So it maintains a larger percent of its initial value than the Tahoe is.
Seems like it, yes, sir.
Little pickup alone.
Just having a pickup and having a four-wheel drive, just being in this part of West Texas.
I was gonna say Texas.
Yeah, it's, you know, isn't
I
it?
guess there's some certain, all prisoners, dogs, whatever.
I wouldn't think. I think, of course, the dog part is where we probably wouldn't be able to use pickup on it.
No, you probably could go to Tahoe with the canine units. But I had one county that, what they did is they still put cages in them because it's a crew cab, so you still have enough room
Put prisoner in
to
bed.
put a prisoner in the back. They said if they had too many, they just tie them and put them in the back of the
That's
truck.
all for it.
Well, I know when I first came over to the sheriff's
All
office,
together.
when I first came over to the sheriff's office here, we had Ford pickups, which was just trash. And they fell apart, but I think if you went with a Chevrolet pickup or something like that, or Dodge, Chevrolet's gonna get a good resale back.
Yes, sir.
Just as good as
I
Dodge.
think the initial purchase price is a little higher.
The initial purchase price for the Chevy truck is gonna be higher, it's gonna be around.
Yeah, what I was just saying is, they're sturdier than the Fords.
Yes,
I think.
that's
I don't
correct.
see why you couldn't go with a pickup over a Tahoe anyway, especially if you're driving county road, you're supposed to be the sheriff's deputy.
Exactly.
What are you saying about our
He ain't
county road?
agreeing with me, but
Absolutely not.
you think a Tahoe stands up stronger than a pickup does on a dirt road?
No, but I'm still going, since you asked. I like the pickups for off-road stuff like what you're talking about. But as far as canine,
Oh,
absolutely
well,
not.
yeah,
Canine, the reasons I don't like pickups for the canines are two reasons. One is it's so high, it's hard for them dogs to jump in and out of the pickup all day long. The other one is the cages are so small, they don't have any room in there whatsoever. Then you don't have room for your stuff. We had one of them at the SO before, and it just, to me, it didn't work out as good as a Tahoe.
Now, I think that's what Jimmy was saying too, a Tahoe for the canine.
Tahoe for the
Maybe
canine.
pickup for the other ones is good. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know if he's a Ford that's going, they didn't say today.
No, never been here. I know this customer's go down on the road on Thursday.
Well, he's got about 100 yards to the driveway.
I think we ought to look at going ahead on the collector vehicles if we can get within, you know, we give 26 for them, for new ones. The value here is showing at 27. You know, that's really a no-brainer deal right there. Have a little money changed over for some of the equipment stuff. But to go ahead and stay on the current.
So these are national values on manhunt?
Yes, sir.
What was this?
They're really pretty close, aren't they?
I'm sorry.
Did you see this, Billy? I guess he got that. Did you?
Yeah, that's one that we talked to them about. This is,
You
this
know,
is a good price. We haven't seen that price. That's one thing they came out from.
That's a Chevy.
yeah, but if you'll look at that right there, though, look at the top up there, where it says quote, project notes. It's showing the two-wheel drive.
Chevrolet have, yeah, but it shows 4x4 down here.
I know, but it says two-wheel up there in quotes.
That should be a price for a two-wheel drive for the Chevy. That's why it's surprised when I see the four-wheel drive down there in the description.
Yeah, you did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says four-wheel drive right here, but then it says up here, two-wheel drive.
I think they missed that. So the price for a four-wheel drive on the Chevy is going to be 28 to 30.
No, it don't say.
What happened is those are going.
You look every track.
Who does that answer?
Does it say?
Does the top part of that spray?
Okay, yeah, it's in package.
No.
Billy?
Yes, sir.
And you're saying this is anticipated value?
Correct.
Okay, what's the cost?
26 is what the value that we get. And see, that's what I don't know is how that was set up, because they didn't have a description on that. So I don't know how it's set up or what it was initially. And that's not necessarily what the value they're gonna get, that's just what they're anticipating the value to be. They might only get a bid at 24, 25 for it. That's up to them. Ms. Babcock brought up a good point. We need that we need to discuss. With the Tahoes, on the two-wheel drive Tahoes, those are called PPD vehicles, pursuit rated. The four-wheel drive Tahoes are not pursuit rated, those are called SSVs. Those are special services vehicles. These trucks, when you get the Dodge trucks, they're not pursuit rated either. None of the trucks are. So what that means is the torque and the suspension is going to be different as far as when you're in pursuit in order to handle that driving condition. It's not going to be that way, especially with a four-wheel drive truck. So it is going to be a little bit more dangerous for the deputies to be in a pursuit if they're in a four-wheel drive truck like that compared to the two-wheel drive Tahoes that are pursuit rated.
We're up against either the payoff, balloon payoff, or
Correct.
or swapping in. Just like this Dodge Round truck here, 2013, so we're at about $7,000 or $8,000 payoff.
Well, I have on the constable one, the payoff, and I guess this is still good what I have here from American.
Yes, ma'am.
It's like $7,972.
So 8,000, basically $8,000.
And then about right at 7,000, a little under 7,000 on the other one because it has, his was a little bit cheaper because it had the smaller tires.
So,
How many miles are you?
telling me
So
that
this-
we,
How many miles do you have on yours?
30,300, I think.
yours 30,000?
Just hypothetically, let's say that for his truck, you get 21,000 for it, just hypothetically.
Right.
So you pay off the 7,000 sold on it, the remaining 14,000 can be applied as down payment to the next vehicle. Which if you notice on the, originally when you first did it, there's a payment, a down payment of $7,000 that was applied. So you're talking about doubling the down payment,
Yeah.
which should cut that payment even in half of what you paid. Does that make sense? And that's the
You just keep
benefit.
doing it, it's
That's
better
the
and
benefit.
better and better.
This is
The whole point of this is to get to where you're just trading just a little bit.
Correct. Yes, sir, just like
That's
we're.
the whole
Just understand the reason it doesn't translate to your personal vehicles because we're buying these vehicles on
Yes.
buy board.
Yes, sir.
The Dodges that you're looking at aren't four-wheel drive, are they?
Those price for the 26,000 I gave, that was four-wheel drive. For their vehicles, we don't have to do the four-wheel drive
Right.
vehicles.
That's not four-wheel drive, here, right?
No, and then just want to make sure that we weren't looking at four-wheel drive.
And the 26 quote is?
The 26 is, that's what we got for, that was Vernon County, did a four-wheel drive Dodges for 26. So you're gonna have a little bit lower price even for that, if you go with two-wheel drive.
Are these prices four-wheel drive, on these Dodges here?
That's, some of, on the ones that they put it on there, no. Now, this one, I don't know, they didn't put the, whether it was two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, which might be the reason why the value's so high. But on most of them, they'll put two-wheel drive, so I can see it.
That's the one thing about a pickup though, a four-wheel drive does give it increase in value,
Correct.
keeps it from trading. That's all the other thing.
And the main point, the main reason why we're here today is to figure out which way we want to go. If we're going to go ahead and get the bids and keep the Dodge trucks, and I can get the bids for them. We didn't know which way the court wanted to proceed, so we don't have the bids for you to review today. But once we get to approval, we'll get that bid and get that in and get that done.
So you're saying if we release, if I'm looking at this right, if we turn it over and carry the lease on, then with the revenue garnered from the sale of the vehicle, we'll be paying off the balloon note, say $8,000. We're probably gonna be financing $10,000 or $11,000 or $12,000.
Yes, sir, you take the remainder of that balloon, apply it to the down payment, and then the rest will be financed. So it just depends on what we get on the bids for the vehicles.
So you're probably financing 7,000-8,000.
Correct.
Yeah.
But then the next time we do it, it's
Should
probably
be less.
3,000 or
It's gonna be
4,000.
less.
Yeah.
Still be financing 12,000.
It depends on-
Financing the difference.
On the market, on what market, yeah.
Correct.
I just assumed it'd bring $23,000 pays $8,000, the other one costs $26,000, that $15,000 left, that'd be $11,000.
In that situation, that's correct.
And all of that on the new lease would be in, something we need to budget for next year.
That'd be in the following budget.
Other than the trouble, changing overall equipment, not too bad a deal.
Well, we could take that 7,000 that we were going to make a payment on, apply it to it too, then you're not going to do that much more.
Do you change your equipment over? Or do you change it over, or do you have somebody else change yours over?
Change the equipment. I did phone to Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put it on.
See, and that's what I was suggesting with Mr. Budar last meeting, is they were always cheaper with us. I don't know where they're taking them, but they always did a really good job.
You said, you mentioned something about that last time you were here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they do a good job as far as transferring equipment over,
Mhm.
or installing it. If you want to purchase it and have them installed, they do that as well. I know with what Chief Deputy Rudolph said before, as far as getting it done and getting the equipment all done at the same time, that's fine as well, because it's just easier, because they install it there.
Yep.
But whichever way you want, we're ready to proceed.
What's the cost to change it up, reinstall?
I'd have to get with Dwayne on that from the little phone.
You're not talking much.
Yeah, it's gonna be very minimal.
I'd say $300-400 if it's that much.
Just to transfer equipment over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all the equipment.
They take one.
It takes more than that. It takes
It
a while.
$400 probably gonna be.
Well, once you remove one and then put it back into another, it takes
And then
6 hours.
I'm just trying to figure out what their labor rate was.
We've already made the payment.
this time around, the mobile internet will have to switch over as well. So we'll have to take off the antennas to replace for the new ones.
So we've already made the 7,000 or whatever.
Cost of it.
It's,
Jimmy,
it
we've
can be
already made
tedious.
the payment this year, but this was the balloon note that's due after.
Okay, so we've already made a payment.
We've already made a payment on both of them.
Eric.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have to do the balloon note yet.
Eric's still.
Well, the balloon note is.
Is it easier for them to do it over there than
I thought we had made a.
Oh, I'd much rather have them do it all in one fell swoop.
Because I figured Dwayne's probably used to doing it with
Oh, absolutely.
some PD vehicles since they do them too.
I'm one of those that, and Brandon just said it as well, it's let them hold the liability if there's anything that goes wrong.
What's the difference between the two?
Freddie had one installed, he had a carrier, and a shotgun, had over here, light on it.
Sure, it's $550.
So you're looking at under 1,000.
What were the charges proposed in that $550? Remove and reinstall?
Installation, so
We'll say under 1,000.
Yeah, so we're gonna take it off and put it on the other one. It wouldn't take.
It didn't say anything about remove and reinstall, I'm sure that's what it was, right?
Well, no, it was a brand new installation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so there'll probably be some removal charge.
I think you go up there and talk to them, I mean, you can probably get it done for roughly the same price.
But I was explaining to you, we had made the payment on both vehicles this year. So this amount, this was the balloon note that's left after. What's left on both of them after we paid the payment.
That's two.
That's two vehicles, you said, under 15,000 for two.
Yeah. So it all depends on what we get on that number, it could be more or less. Right. You get one.
The way we're strong equity.
You get one quote?
Yes, sir. You get three quotes.
the door emblems are gonna be extra.
Yeah, I don't think.
We ordered those from a company in Wichita Falls, and Grandma will build it from home.
And if they weren't, now that they have, they probably still have it quite with
I mean,
them.
they weren't $50 or something like that, like
That was
$7.
one.
Graphics.
That magnetic.
They did, no, they're stuck on.
Savannah.
And and the same one did Constable 1 and 3, same company.
That's what we do, I think, both like motorcycles look alike, same color.
Since you're here, you choose color?
Did you see Tom Brown article? About Mary Kay.
I'm red. You notice?
Pink or
Hot pink with that gold emblem on the side?
kid driving, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
South down.
So in doing the lease, that's what I was gonna ask you, Rick, in doing the lease, I think this money, any monies exchanged will be in next year's budget, because everything is trading down, so anything else is gonna be, so December of this year, which will be our 17
We do it in
budget.
March even, so we have tax reasons.
Okay, we'll know what.
Well, I still would pull the trigger with the constables, and if the sheriff's office wants to, they can show up with representatives. I agree.
Well, do you want to decide which way you want me to go for bids for the sheriff's office? That's kind of what I need to know, so we can, that way we can come back with more definite numbers with them.
Jim's out of town, I had texted him, I know he's out all week, he's had some other stuff, but I know what were they leaning toward
When
the,
we get bombarded, we're here to discuss the commissioner's pickup and they add on sheriff's vehicles. We get bombarded, it's all kind of snowball.
There's a method to the madness. Not good.
Why?
Show up and
Well, we don't have a sheriff representative, here's what I'm thinking.
well, no, Jim was he's out of town all week, because we had some other stuff going this week too, but I think they were kind of leaning toward Tahoe.
We're not gonna go Tahoe.
Got a 2013.
I think one time on the
$1,400.
Canine is
They
good.
got Tahoes there.
Right.
2013 model,
Yeah, we got two.
132,000 on it.
I'm sorry.
Got a 2013 model with 34,000 and a 2013 model with 132,000. Well, one mileage is different. But it's got a 12 to 17.
It's nice in this property, we should ask for the sheriff's office to have some input here, it's going to come down to what we.
But I think when Billy's.
Lewis and I have a representative.
Because they have a
Billy's
balloon
just
note
needs to
due
shop
on
it.
some 13s also.
They've got two balloon notes as well.
On Tahoe, 13 Tahoes. What he had were some 12 pickups that he wanted to keep these 13 Tahoes and trade, but I don't know how those numbers.
2007 model Tahoe, obviously we own that. That's right.
No, these here, these.
Those are different cameras.
These are
Those are
different.
just,
Oh,
Yeah,
These are just references here.
okay. That's why that is. That answers the question.
I can go get the inventory sheet and tell you, I know he's got two 12s that are paid for, but he's got two 13, they're two 12s are pickups. He's got two 13 Tahoes that have the balloon note that we were gonna have to do
Those,
something.
yeah, quoting there aren't white, they're not yellow.
I think what we talked about doing was if we're gonna have to replace those older pickups, is to keep those Tahoes,
In service.
take the balloon of off. Keep them in
Yes,
service, because they're low mileage, one don't have a 50,000 on it, the other has something, a little bit more than that.
One of the keys that they are top.
Yes,
yes.
and then taking, we had to trade those 12s off, both of those are F-150s,
this
forward high mileage.
Yes.
So that's something that we need to figure out which way to go from there. What I would like to know, what I'd like to know in the sheriff's department is how many actual vehicles are they using or utilizing? We got extra ones out there, we need to do something with, or what? That's something we need to get an inventory sheet and
I've
find
got
out
the
exactly
inventory
what we
sheet,
got.
but they have to tell you
Which ones they use.
which one are
they don't.
in
You know,
trouble.
because if there's anything out there that we're not using, it's just sitting there just for extra. I think there's other things out there that can be used.
I can understand the extra, I can't understand too much.
Well,
I know they would need an admin, maybe one to come to the courthouse, do this and that.
Well, they got a van for that.
And you could rent a vehicle and you can go in service while you're driving.
That's what we're saying.
Lawnmower.
Yeah. They got a van and they also got a transport vehicle.
Oh, in the jail.
in the jail. So that's something we need to figure out exactly what kind of inventory they got. If we could save 3 or 4 of them, you go in with 2, and we could do
Oh,
that.
the one that's a white.
I think Billy was needing this basically us to say shop them.
Yeah, just see what y'all wanted to get as far as quotes, so I can bring them back to y'all to decide on.
This
Shop them, let's look at the number.
Yeah, that's what I was
pickup.
I think it's very-
Four-door pickups.
Chevrolet.
Chevy or-
Chevrolet. Replace Corolla. 2 of them are talking about. So we're just gonna get price, we're gonna do what we're gonna do.
And then it is patrol, not the tank.
Yeah, look, it's not talking, they don't have team control.
You wanna go to both sides?
Look, there's a good.
Yeah, I'd say we're gonna pump on this to see.
The only difference is Tahoe's about 40,000 versus about 20-something thousand.
No, I thought you said there was
No,
34.
Base price for the Tahoe was 34.
34.
Another 33% or something?
Yes, sir.
And the resale value of Tahoe, not like what
So cheap trade vehicles,
No, pickup gets a better resale value.
so cheap trade vehicles.
And if they get out of the black and go like silver. Better, wouldn't it?
Black.
Black sells better than silver?
Wichita knows, throat, they do hearing aids. I went up there and got his
I've already picked on you about that.
Show me done.
Yeah.
At
least they're-
don't work very good most of the time. You can't hurt them up that way.
New car guy?
Let's go ahead and do that deal on the constables. Go back. Yeah.
We could check the insurance now.
Yeah.
Will do. Thank you.
You're the best, Billy.
No, because once we know we're gonna do that, we'll just take it out.
Did y'all say what color? White or?
There'll be.
White.
But it won't be white, it'll be black.
Both of them, white.
It won't be white.
One of them was 18, one of them was 16.
Are you going to the conference in a couple weeks, Billy?
Is there
Yes, sir.
one?
We'll see you there.
Looking for it.
Yeah, he got 20 of them.
20.
17 is what's on the map.
Okay.
Like
Like
that, a lot
that.
more detail, I guess, too.
I'll second.
You might need to come down and look at my truck.
Well, I've got the sheets.
Exercise,
Everything's on.
release
You want me
option.
to scan and send them
That's
to
not release, but release.
Release. Yes, sir.
Release.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Pruitt, second by Commissioner Wiley to exercise our release option with American National on constable vehicles. 2 will be apparent.
And Ken to go check on the quotes first.
Were you gonna do that, Billy, with 20, or do we need to check with them?
No, I can give it to you
Okay.
on the transfer cost.
Don't worry.
you. Are you gonna do all that? Put it over quick.
Put it all in there, where it's all.
Okay, all in favor? Carried, ayes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'll send you what I have.
Okay, item number 11 is consider setting the speed limit change for Rocky Mountain Road and setting here for the same.
I would propose that we set the speed limit for Rocky Mountain Road at 45 miles an hour and ask for a public hearing on that recommendation.
Okay, when we set a public hearing, we'll have to give notice, publish notice, and we can't publish it any later than the 7th day or any earlier than the 30th. So, when do you propose your public hearing?
What's our schedule?
Our next board meeting will be the 25th.
Good on the, can we do it on that day?
25th is pretty short day.
Doesn't need to be short.
It's on the 25th.
You will move that one meeting,
One more meeting, can will that work in that window?
that'll be May the, no, it'll be May 9th, May 2nd.
Yeah.
Okay. Here somewhere. Order. A notice setting a public hearing, the date will be to set that on May. Where did that be? Do you know? May 9, 2016 at 9:30. 9:30 a.m. Place,
That hearing will postpone the start of our regular commission.
Actually, we'll call it to order, and go through the open motions, and then we'll have it. Okay, on your proposed limits, or is it gonna be one limit for the entire road, or
Yes, sir.
you need any discussion about that?
Well, the listeners,
I haven't driven that road, and I kind of think that 45 is probably too high around those first two curves. So I'm curious on whether there shouldn't be about 3 different limits set there. One for those two curves and one for the aggregate portion of that road. I don't know.
I'm proposing a speed limit of 45 miles an hour for the very purpose of having those type of discussions, so
Okay.
that we can decide what's the public opinion we're going to put on the hearing. Can't do,
Okay.
or shouldn't do. Let me say we can do, but speed limit.
You know, he's supposed to 15 mile an hour corner.
Knowing that that proposal is not coming to a final resolution on the speed limits, it's just simply a proposal for us to discuss. Coming off of a 75 mile an hour road, we're going to a 45 mile an hour road in May. Well, no, those speed limit signs do have nothing to do with the accelerator or anything.
State Highway 16 to intersection of McIntyre Road.
I've had a lot of input, by the way, calls, personal visits, and it runs about 2 to 1 for the 45 mile an hour speed limit. But the ones who are opposed to 45 mile an hour speed limit have some good reasons for that. I worry about those 90-degree corners, those blind curves, the narrow ridges. And I just want to make sure the public during this hearing remains aware of that. I will try to put together a PowerPoint on the road, show people what the dangers are. Obviously, a wide open road. The road that was built with the C curve running is obviously a road that can be driven on safely at 45 miles an hour. But once you leave that pavement onto the gravel road, you've got a different circumstance altogether. I'll make sure that people do understand that they're young, inexperienced drivers, older drivers that don't drive as well as they might used to have in the past. So you need to consider everybody. 45 is not going to be fast enough for some. 35 is a fast road, so.
So 10 miles per hour to get them home, you're about 40 seconds.
About 40 seconds. You know, I've driven the entire length of that road at 35 and at 45. I started doing it at 55, but I can't negotiate the terms.
So what was it? A matter of seconds?
I tell you what, the scuffing off of that higher rate of speed on the corner certainly doesn't enhance the washboard on the road.
They're still going to run up to it, slam on the brakes, tear up your road. Yep. And then they grab at you. Slow down.
Okay, we've got a motion by Commissioner Science, and a second by Pruitt. To oppose. increasing the speed limit. And on Rocky Mountain Road from 35 to 45. And setting public hearing for May the 9th, 9:30 a.m. in this Young County courtroom. All in favor? Aye. Carried. 5-0. And I've got that saved on the computer, I'll type that up to the reading. Notice has got to be posted for that, not later than 7 days before, not earlier than 30 days before. So we'll.
And I want to reemphasize this one more time for the news meeting, whatever. This is simply a recommendation, a place to start with our public hearings. The result of what will happen on that road will be a result of the public hearing. Okay, end of there.
We'll get notice of public hearing to you pretty soon. We'll make that time. Okay. That's both done. Item number 12, discuss interlocal agreement contract services for inmate housing in Wichita County. I left you a little thing. I've reached out to some of the other counties surrounding us, many more than what's responded, but a few have responded. I may get some more because it was kind of late when I put that out. I've also sent this proposal contract to County Judge Gotham, Wichita County Judge. He responded back fairly soon. He had sent that to his legal department to get it to review. Thought, yeah, it's absolutely time to update that contract. And he has concerns about the legality of being able to indemnify one county indemnifying another county. So that's where we are in that process, and it looks like from the returns, responses that I have, is somewhere between 40 and $50, somewhere between there. One that I didn't put down here was Eastland County. They have about the same size jail as we do. They do not have outside prisoners, and Judge Fields did not have a current cost. The last time they had carried it was $37, and that was what we were charging back in 2010 on this
Jack
contract.
County has estimated theirs at $46.75 a day.
That's what
Now it's supposed to be figured hours.
that's what Judge Davenport is saying. I don't, I don't know, kind of,
But his
I
current,
noticed that.
but his current contract rate is 45.
45, you know. But it's like you said, if we got surplus capacity that we're already paying for,
Yeah.
it wouldn't hurt to discount just to try to get those people to come. Now, if they were running us beyond capacity where we had to add jailers and extra expense, I could see us not charging enough. But right now, we have the surplus capacity, and I think the $45 sounds like $45 is perfect.
Who's the one underneath Jack County?
Oh, children.
Congo County, that's Paducah.
Cottle?
Wait, no, you had
They
some,
live in the children.
this is a 96 bed one? Because you had Cobb County pays children 40,
Yeah.
this one says that.
Yeah, but what
This is,
between the two?
This is Garza County, and that was me, when I put that in red there, that was me figuring that. He didn't give me a native cost, I just took his budget number, so that's pretty an estimate, and divided it by the number of days based on the average of 88.
Their budget's a lot greater than our budget.
We,
That's $160
they've also got, yeah, they've also got a,
Yeah, 96 bed
but that's all, that's what we're saying.
We got 140 inch bed.
We've got 144 beds for staffing, and the jail commission will regulate it's probably around 130. And if we were staffed for that, we're staffed for 96, so as we approach 96, based upon our current budget, that cost ought to come down a little bit. Once you go one over that, you have to put on that other staff, then that you stretch that balloon back out again substantially. So,
Can we deny prisoners at a certain level? Can that be in the contract? If we were to go over.
I think that contract has spaces available, type contract.
The space available doesn't mean the total volume allowable in your jails, the total volume allowable for your budget.
Well, what you gotta remember.
We budgeted for 96, with 96 to be our total allowable.
What you gotta play with though is what we intake. So if we're housing X amount for them, we gotta figure out our intake too. For those that they've got is gonna be in there until they come get them. But ours, we either gotta play with the number, coming and going.
2015, we averaged 74 prisoners.
Manage it, what I'm trying to say, you have to manage the numbers.
Let me ask Tommy something, like, let's say we have 80 prisoners, let's just say we did, and we're housing 20, or we only had 75 prisoners, and we're housing 20 for Wichita, and one day we fluctuate to 85, now we're over. Do you have so long to get those out of jail before you have to put on another inmate? I mean, jailer?
On a situation like that, you just have to tell your contract county that you're over your capacity and they have to pick up some.
Come pick up
But do you have like 2 days to get those other ones out?
How long can it stay out of bounds?
Yeah.
Well, they report those as monthly average.
Oh, so we can go down.
You got to go down in there.
Yeah. That's
There
all.
are somebody, you're
You
somebody else.
can't pick up all the work.
Somebody else.
So an increase in our incarceration rate would decrease the amount of outside prisoners that we could.
Well, what you do then is you look at what you got in there and see if anybody you can PR out or do something with,
Right.
and have somebody in there that's paying.
Well, and let's say on the weekend you just gather 20, well, most of those are going to be locked out of jail.
Yeah, quickly,
Yeah.
you know. So
So then you're
there's
back
several
there.
different ways of looking at
So
it.
you could be at 105 for 3 or 4 days and not have to put on the
Yeah.
extra jailer.
Yeah.
Okay.
These reports were reported to the commission as monthly population reports.
That's-
You may not can handle exactly 96 prisoners at one time, depending on how they're, right? There's so many women out there, you may have an open cell over there because of the women's side versus the men's side, right?
That's
Still be
96, that's
staffed.
an ideal number.
It's, yeah, it's an ideal number. Technically, it may not
I
ever
think
get
there's been more than 96 out there before.
We've had
Yeah.
110.
Yeah.
I never understood why we have 144 bed jail and don't utilize but half of it, not even half of it.
Well, when we first talked about that deal, that was our deal when we added on to that deal. Was that we could get numbers, whether we got them from some other county or we got them from the federal side. And that was what it was about. But, it never did work out that way.
There's a lot of beds up in county jails.
I know back when we built it, everybody was swapping around trying to get.
Incarceration rates down.
No, our incarceration rates are considerably above the average.
I think everybody started building jails like we did, so they didn't need to ship them out.
Capacity.
Right.
But we're ready for the future. We weren't ready over here.
No, we wasn't ready for that. You take our average number, what we have in there now versus what the
We just
we
said
had
it all.
over there.
Yeah.
It's gonna cost us.
We're sending them off.
Yes.
No, we were sending them off.
Our current incarceration rate here in Young County is 3.92, and that ranks 23rd highest county in the state. And it'll go from 0 all the way to about 7 or 8%, 11%. I can't remember what I looked at here this last week.
That's not good at all.
There's several. You know, there's hundreds of companies don't operate in county. They just have all over
Baylor said they're
Baylor's
available.
one. Haskell's actually one, because they've got provisions for their own incarceration, there's the private jail. Throckmorton County doesn't operate jail. Carver County office doesn't operate
They
jail.
almost at 45, come down just a quarter. Try to be more competitive than the others.
4475? Sure. Any comment, Mark?
Yeah.
I think probably 45 is probably good enough. Based on that shortens us a little bit. Well, if you don't charge what you're being called, the cost of prison's gonna increase. Regardless. Operate 50% capacity or 90% capacity.
I agree that it's probably a small amount, the numbers, most of it's fixed costs. Figures from 96.
It's hard to figure that because it's kind of it's a moving target. It's always changing.
Is there a food contract for 96?
I think.
Is it a moving number?
Well, when we figured it in the budget, we figured.
So much per meal, it's
I think it's based
cheap, I
on,
don't know what they're eating, but
it's based on specific.
What started it?
It's got to, because you can't do 96, you got 50 people in there.
Well, we based our budget on a certain amount.
Right.
But it just depends on, you only get what you use.
Right.
You know,
It may be based on like something like 75 or 80.
Still think Columbia would be good.
we only get pretty high.
I can look at Columbia bread.
fried bologna.
The other thing is, though, we're looking at too, though, is you got Wichita currently in there, 3750.
Well, they took all their prisoners out last weekend,
They
so
did.
that's what we'll have to
Really? So we
charge.
can start over again with the new contract?
That's what I'm thinking.
We're
As soon as we get one signed.
If Woody gets decided next year.
out
What
of county.
Woody says.
Right now.
Are they shipping theirs anywhere else?
No, I think they have some problems with their jail up there, and they just housed them here until they got their problems.
Had leakage.
But yeah, I think they've got one with, I believe they've got one with Montague County, but I haven't.
Montague's isn't that big. It's only 96 beds, isn't
Need this price and see what Montague County is charging.
it? I think so.
But we don't need to go up higher than what they're already getting.
Well,
We need to stay within the,
We're going at $5 higher than Childers County is at 40.
but what I'm saying is,
475,
we
right?
still gotta be competitive.
4375.
I don't think we need to go below what our average day cost is, regardless of what it is. Being competitive is fine. But we're gonna pay for those.
Well, I look at it different than that because we've got fixed costs for 96 people. And if we're just putting 50 people in there, we're still paying for the other 46 beds.
It's not fair.
It's not.
But as that number goes up, it gets a little cheaper to get toward that 96.
I think you get a lot cheaper.
Well,
The only thing you're gonna be paying more for is you're gonna be paying more for food, which is not that much more, a little bit more water. Everything else is gonna be fixed cost.
it costs us $50 a day to keep the Young County River in here. I can't see, I understand the point there where it would be costing us less than $50 a day to keep somebody else.
Because your building maintenance is a fixed cost, labor is a fixed cost, your insurance is a fixed cost.
Benefits and everything.
Regardless of just fixed costs.
Do you ever think that we should look at or holding a Class C prison in the city of Albany or Graham, we should charge them $45 a day too. I do.
Well, there's several, there's a lot of counties that have contracts like that. They're probably not at the exact cost that we're operating on the contract with the city of Graham right now, where we don't charge the city of Graham.
When I came about the water situation, that's something, I looked at the water bill and it hadn't gone down since last year.
That's what I'm saying. Well,
I mean,
the city charges us water.
Our water cost is 33 times what it was before the lake started going down. You know,
Must have to hold something, subject this thing come up.
We'll see that subject again. Budget conference.
I don't, but it's something about when they always go up, they don't come back down.
Once it goes up, I say, I stand.
And you see, it goes by the size of the meter. You know, that 1 meter right there is 2 inch, I think. That's expensive.
Well,
What do we need to do
let's see what Judge Dawson shoots back into.
I move we table this.
On the contract.
And can we check on one thing here too?
Yeah, I've got a inquiry out to them.
Yeah.
I might have to send it up. I've got several inquiries out that I haven't received any response back.
Does Clay County have a very big jail?
I believe, yeah, they've got one. I
I don't think they have a new jail, Clay
I
County.
can't remember how big it is.
Because I think,
It's a 96 bed.
I think we need to check with Clay County also.
I've got a request out to Kenneth.
Clay.
Nearly all of the counties in our
100 mile radius or whatever.
Nortex region, and we've got a little judges group, email list, probably consists of 20, 30.
I move we table this until we get further information.
Got a motion by Commissioner Sykes, second by Commissioner Rogers, is that right? Right. Keep this on the agenda, keep it on fine. So that's going to be on the 25th. All in favor?
So for discussing the jail, I need to bring it up during public comments. We're having that meeting Thursday at 1:30 with MHMR and various officials, county officials.
I don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, put that on the list. Yeah, we gotta have it today. It's gonna be posted today.
I'll make it work.
Anyways, it's a public meeting and treatment posted.
Is it
1:30
here?
here in the courtroom.
I've had about 15 responses, RSVP. I was a little concerned that we might have a crowd too big for this room, but I don't, it doesn't look like.
Our elected representatives may.
Yes, Drew will be here, and a representative, I don't think Senator Estes, but a representative is hoping to be here. I've also invited James Franks. Haven't heard anything about that in a the senator from out west.
Yeah, I know you told me. Yeah, he was at our meeting.
I like his name there.
No, you don't know
Yeah.
This will be a public meeting, so if any citizens have a desire to show up, Thursday at 1:30.
That's it.
Yeah.
Charles Perry.
He was at our meeting in Burlington.
Burn.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one of those.
Yeah. All of those invites been sent out now to about 15 or so for SVP. Roddy Jackson, obviously, will be here. I figured you'll probably not. Run the lake camp, will we
I'll
not?
just introduce the folks over there and then take over.
And it's gonna be a discussion there. There'll be no action item, I don't think, will just be strictly a discussion. Our concerns, problems that we're having regarding mental health issues in our county jail system. Not just Young County, but state county jails in general. Is there anything else that we need? Burn restrictions?
You take any more consideration on the, maybe implementing the red flag day?
I haven't got to address that.
I'm still contemplating that. Mr. Wiley, man, if the red flag goes off at 1:33 and somebody starts a fire and they get ticketed for it, and they say, well, I didn't start that thing until 1:45.
But there's a rule though, on the red flag day, it's usually all day long,
You just do it in the morning.
one day,
But that, if it's issued
for that day,
for that day, it's just no brainer for that 24-hour period.
that 24-hour period.
Because 9 times out of 10, you know it's going to be 50 mile an hour winds the next day.
Usually if it starts in the morning, early blowing, it don't quit blowing. Here lately, it ain't quit.
I just don't hand the officers in the courts an enforcement problem.
Well, I think those red flag days are issued through Forest Service and the National System for a particular area.
I ain't even gonna check.
I think if we could check into it, see if we can.
I agree, that's time I just didn't get that done last week, last 2 weeks. I'll do a little calling on that. Lightning got my transformer home last night for about 5:20 this morning, 5:15.
No fire, but you got rain on top of it.
Well, it didn't have much rain, did it? I don't guess it was a direct hit, but it drifted, so it just, no, I'm already gone. My wife called me. So I reckon they back home.
Blow dry or something.
Nothing you gotta do that is low there.
No, it was ready. I don't think it was a direct hit, but it was kind of strange.
It's already closed at my house.
You know,
It's already up
100 yards to the south of the barn, which is on the same source, same transmission line. It didn't affect it, I had electricity there. It didn't affect my neighbor. Joyce Bullock to the east, she had power, don't think it affected our house.
You don't know the damage and the extent that you get that turned on.
Well, they came out to, they Fort Bell now, they just flipped the switch on the transformer a couple of times, they said it just burned out.
So we hit my house and we got my AC on the outside.
I was gonna say, you don't know the extent that it gets it back.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I did it.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Anybody want to stay any longer?
So you'll be here at 8:30, 9:30? Where are you going?
Have we heard anybody? Think we're gonna be here tomorrow? Think we're gonna be here in the morning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, she didn't, I think they're coming in this evening, so they'll be here early.
So you want to start at 8:30, I'll do 9:30?
The,
9:30?
I have your travel anyway, so if you pick them up tomorrow or next week, are we doing, because y'all probably leave in a hurry next month. We'll have, I mean, yes, you're coming out, thank you tomorrow, we'll have travel. I don't know what time.
You got a second?
Hey, I'll get yours done.
You want to be
We need that
third?
thing for the building too. Whatever you
We're gonna have everybody.
When? Are you looking at